Hokage Saga, Invincible Power by Sacrificing Emotional Intelligence. Episode 111. Shiraishi walked into the medical department. After all, the ape-flying sun chop failed to resist, and he thought about continuing to work before, but he didn't expect that in only 2 days, he fell down and was sent to the medical department to recuperate. The body is weak. Teacher, Shiraishi, if you come to see me, forget it. What else do you bring? Something? Shiraishi looked at the bag he was carrying and said, you said this is the food I prepared for myself on the road, but if you want it, then give it to you. Ape flying sun chop. No EQ event trigger. Talent plus 19. But Sarutobi was not too disappointed, because this is Shiraishi's character. If Shiraishi is not like this, ape flying sun chopper may not be used to it, and he thinks that Shiraishi has changed people. By the way, teacher, you promised me last time that you would give me another ninjutsu. What ninjutsu do you want? Shiraishi thought for a moment. The art of diving in the soil, after the progression, has become the activation of the soil. The effect is much stronger, whether it is sneaking in or escaping. It is very good, and the practicality has improved a lot. Turning off the gun with a double phone can almost completely replace a shuriken, faster and more destructive than a shuriken, and it is also possible to shoot dozens, hundreds of bullets at the enemy at the same time. It was the Great Snake Pill's 10,000 Snake Luo array, and it didn't have much advantage in front of Shiraishi's double mobile phone gun. Of course, this is mainly because the amount of chakra of the big snake pill is not as good as that of Baishur. That's why that's it. Water Dragon Bite Burst, a massive damaging ninjutsu, also comes with controls. Ninfa, Needle Jizo, in the case of short and medium distances, can attack and defend. Give me a fire. Shiraishi made a decision. A fire escape allows Shiraishi to deal with more different environments. How Fireball? Shiraishi, at least a little more advanced. Then the Fire Dragon art. Ape Flying Sun Chopper said, this is already a B-level ninjutsu, and you already have a Water Dragon Bite Burst for S-level ninjutsu. Supplementing a moderately damaging ninjutsu should be quite useful to you. Shiraishi nodded. Okay, that's it. Ape Flying Sun Chopper gestured outside. Go and bring the scroll of the Fire Dragon art. Yes. A dark part quickly disappeared. Not long after, the dark part returned, handing the scroll to Sarutobi Hinata. Shiraishi, this is the scroll of the Fire Dragon art. After you use it, you will either send it back to the Hokage building or destroy it directly. Good. Shiraishi took the scroll. In that case, then teacher, I won't disturb you to rest, I'll go first. Good. Shiraishi returned home with the scroll. Xiangfos poked out a head. Wormwood, are your things packed? It's almost there. Shiraishi nodded. During the previous battle, Senjikuma had always stressed that Shiraishi should go to Tsunade, and although Shiraishi didn't know what was going on, Shiraishi still planned to go as Senjikuma said. Because in Konoha, Shiraishi is running out of talent points that he can get. The people of Konoha have a certain resistance to their own speaking style, and when resistance appears, there will be fewer talent points for feedback. The talent points provided by Tsunade should be comparable to the Great Snake Pill, and it should be on par with Jiraiya. After all, they are all one of the 3 ninjas. Shiraishi entered his room and locked the door. After that, take out the scroll. Fire Escape, Fire Dragon Art, 100. Shiraishi opened his eyes. Naruto, Sasuke and the others learned the news that Shiraishi was about to leave the village from nowhere, and came to Shiraishi's courtyard one after another. Shiraishi, are you really going to find Tsunade, one of the 3 shinobi? That's right. Naruto hesitated and said, Shiraishi, I heard that person is difficult to talk to, and when you find that person, you can mention my teacher's name to him. Your teacher? Naruto straightened his chest slightly. I'm not afraid to tell you now. I found a new teacher. It is Jiraiya, one of the 3 shinobi, the same Sanshin. He must have a relationship with that Tsunade. I will also leave the village in a few days, and he will take me to practice. Shiraishi shook his head. No thanks. No. Why? Because I've seen that Jiraiya you said. Shiraishi said, this guy, how to say it, I promised him to keep it secret, so I can't tell you, but this guy's friendship with Tsunade should not be too good. Naruto, you should be able to understand, since he is your teacher. Naruto remembered the scene when he first met Jiraiya, and he was a little embarrassed. It seems to be. Sakura and Sasuke looked at Naruto with a hint of envy in their eyes. They now understand the name of the 3 ninjas. It is not a name that ordinary people can have. It is in the war, on the battlefield, using battle after battle, are all representatives of strength, and Naruto could actually become a disciple of Sanshin. Especially Sasuke. Why was Sasuke moved after being seduced by Orochimaru? It was because Sasuke felt that his teacher was not good enough, felt that Kakashi was not strong enough. Think Kakashi is a Sibe, staring at a Sharingan who didn't know where to pick it up. The real strength could not be on the table, not to mention compared to that man. It is much worse than other serious Sangyuyu Jibwa. Of course, the serious Sangyuyu Jibwa no longer exists. Sasuke will be moved because Orochimaru is stronger than Kakashi. Now after hearing that Naruto, such a crane tail, was actually accepted as a disciple by one of the 3 ninja of the same level as Orochimaru, Sasuke was jealous. No wonder Naruto's strength will increase by leaps and bounds, so it is. Sasuke was in a bad mood. Sakura asked suddenly, Shiraishi, you are a disciple of Lord Hokage, so what do you and Jiraiya-senpai call you? He asked me to call him senior brother. Sakura couldn't help but look at Naruto. In that case, should Naruto call Shiraishi your uncle? Almost. Naruto, this doesn't count, monographs are different. Naruto could admit that Shiraishi was strong, but he definitely didn't want to be called Shiraishi uncle. It's not early, you should go. Shiraishi glanced at the sky. Good. Naruto and Sakura left, but Sasuke turned back after a moment. Shiraishi, what's wrong? I have a request. What request? Tomorrow I want to leave with you. I want to meet one of the 3 shinobi named Tsunade. I want to worship her as a teacher. I hope she can help me become stronger. Shiraishi, please. Sasuke bowed his head deeply, as if afraid to hear some voice of rejection. Whatever. Sasuke's face was delighted. Shiraishi, thank you. Episode 112. I won't help you speak. Whether you can succeed with the teacher, that's your own problem. Understood. The next day, the group of 3 left Konoha. Shiraishi, Kakuro, Sasuke, followed the entrance of the village. Shiraishi held a piece of information that the Dark Ministry had heard in his hand. Information about Tsunade. It wasn't very difficult for Konoha to get Tsunade's information. After all, Tsunade is still active in the territory of the Land of Fire, and he likes to gamble. As long as the people of the Fire Nation pay a little attention, they can obtain intelligence. And the reason why no one forcibly brought Tsunade back was just to respect Tsunade's choice. This is also a tribute to the Senju clan. Shiraishi opens the map and marks some red dots on it. The red dot is the area where Tsunade has haunted the past in the recent period. Shiraishi looked at both Kato and Sasuke. Wormwood, you are responsible for your life along the way. Yes. Sasuke, you're in charge of guarding. Understood. Shiraishi assigned the work, nodded, and withdrew his gaze. Shiraishi could feel that around him, some eyes were faintly looking at the 3 of them, but there is no malice. Shiraishi guessed that it might be someone from the dark part. After all, he was a disciple of Hokage. And Sasuke's words, identity information is very sensitive. Only aromatic phosphorus is relatively unimportant. A few days later, Jiraiya left with Naruto as well. Konoha became smooth and busy. Because Sarutobi Hinata was injured and could only stay in the medical department, some kami shinobi began to share Sarutobi's work, and Kakashi and Sarutobi Asuma were important candidates. The elders began to step onto the table. Mito Minyen, Shun Koharu, and Shimura Danzo. If there is no accident, Konoha's state will continue until Sarutobi recovers. Shiraishi, do you have any better training methods? Last time, Shiraishi said that the method of drawing circles with his left hand and drawing squares with his right hand. After Sasuke tried it, he felt that it worked very well. But all that method can improve is the ability to control chakra. I can pay. Sanitary cleaning, Shiraishi, is no longer needed, because there is already aromatic phosphorus. But last time, Shiraishi asked Sasuke to have dinner once. What are you going to improve? I don't know. Shiraishi, what do you think? Shiraishi hesitated. Is the man you're going to defeat powerful? Very powerful. Sasuke nodded. Even if he hated Uchiha Itachi, Sasuke had to admit that Uchiha Itachi was very strong. Maybe the talent is not below Shiraishi. That's impossible. Shiraishi waved his hand and said, there is no one with better talent than me in this world. Do you remember the big snake pill? Remember, in the last big battle, I really fought with my big snake pill, the 2 of us, trapped in a big array one-on-one. The big snake pill is not my opponent. Sasuke's pupil shrank. Orochimaru lost? Of course, how else could I still see you? That guy. After eating my ninjutsu last time, he hated me so much that he wanted to kill me. But no way, he's not strong enough. Sasuke's eyes lit up. I felt very wise about my original decision. Sasuke wavered at the time, and at Kakashi's suggestion, he consulted Shiraishi, only to learn that the big snake pill is not that strong at all. But Shiraishi's words at that time were, the big snake pill was stronger than his comprehensive strength. But it didn't take too long for him to reach the level of defeating the big snake pill. Sasuke didn't expect that this didn't take too long to be so fast. It's been less than a month. What does this prove? Proved his choice and was 100% correct. To get the help of the great snake pill, it is better to ask Shiraishi's help. It makes no sense to let a stronger person not ask, but pay a greater price to ask for a weaker person. Can the 13-year-old man do this? I don't know. Sasuke shook his head, a little hesitant. Because Uchiha Itachi, it was at the age of 13 that he carried out the mission to exterminate the clan. That man, when he was 13 years old, killed all of Uchiha's clansmen except me. Yet, Sasuke looked at Shiraishi and said, Shiraishi, you are already very, very powerful. So Shiraishi, you can help me decide. I can't see that far yet. Shiraishi retracted his gaze. Okay, if you want to stand higher, the better the foundation must be. It's like building a house. Basal body, chakra extraction, chakra control, and the mastery of commonly used ninjutsu. After that, it is high-level ninjutsu, as well as whole card ninjutsu. Shiraishi said, now your chakra extraction and chakra control have been done well. But the basic body technique is not enough. If you want to improve, just train in this regard. By the way, using laid-done chakra to stimulate the body, this method is quite good. Sasuke nodded. Yes. The 3 of Shiraishi and the 2 of Naruto were already far away from Konoha. Shiraishi felt that the sight that was secretly watching him had disappeared. Suddenly, a scream suddenly sounded. She is a nurse in the medical department. Die. Die. The medical ninja next to him frowned and walked in. What's wrong? What's the fuss? This is the medical department. You're a nurse. The nurse said in a panic. Naruto-sama is dead. What? The medical ninja's voice rose sharply. Naruto-sama is dead? That's impossible. Soon, the news came out. Major ninja families, Elder, Dark Part, Root Part, Shinobi, all knew the news. Countless people gathered at the medical department. Asuma, Danzo, Mito Menyen, Koharu Schwan, Kakashi, all of them came to the medical department. Doctor? Asuma stared at the medical ninja deadly. Sorry. The medical ninja shook his head and sighed. Asuma's figure was sluggish, and she almost couldn't stand steadily. Impossible. Impossible. Father, how could he die suddenly? His injury is clearly stable. The medical ninja said, I checked. Naruto-sama's fatal injuries are not accumulated from previous injuries, but new, to be precise, last night. Someone assassinated Naruto-sama. Asuma's eyes instantly turned red. Who is it? I don't know. I just know that this is a ninjutsu similar to needle pricking. The medical ninja said, there is a very small piercing in the heart of Naruto-sama, very small. Senben? No, the pinholes made by Senbon are not so big. Mito Menyen frowned. Needle Jizo? Episode 113. Invincible as a sacrifice to EQ. Episode 113.
162,161,160,159,158, 157,156,155,154,153. 152,151,150,149,148, 147,146,145,144,143, 142,141,140,139,138, 137,136,135,134,133, 132,131,130,130,129,128, 127,126,125,124,123, 122,121,120,119,118, 117,116,115,114,113, 112,111,110,109,108, 107,106,105,104,103, 102,101,199, 98, 97, 96, 95, 94, 93, 92, 91, 90, 89, 88, 87, 86, 85, 84, 83, 82, 81, 80, 79, 78, 77, 76, 75, 74, 73, 72, 71, 70, 69, 68, 67, 66, 65, 64, 63, 62, 61, 60, 59, 58, 57, 56, 55, 54, 53, 52, 51, 50, 49, 48, 47, 46, 45, 44, 43, 42, 41, 40, 39, 38, 37, 36, 35, 34, 33. 32, 31, 30, 29, 28, 27, 26, 25, 24, 23, 22, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Previous next. Everyone's eyes turned to Mito Menyen. Elder Mito, are you sure this is needle Jizo? Mito Menyen nodded. Yes, only needles can cause so many small wounds. What do you mean? Mito Menyen shook his head and said, as far as I know, only Jiraiya can also do this ninjutsu, but in addition to Jiraiya, whether there are other people who can do this ninjutsu, it may not be certain. And there is a possibility of blame. Could it be that the big snake pill pseudo caused this scene? Tuanzo stood up. The big snake pill is unlikely. He has already failed last time, and I heard that he was seriously injured. In this case, the big snake pill cannot have such strength. Speaking of Jiraiya, I remembered something. That is, Jiraiya also took Naruto away. Danzo's expression was very serious. Naruto's identity, I believe you all know. The nine-tailed man pillar force, you all know the importance of this thing to the village. But Jiraiya took Naruto away. In addition, before Jiraiya has not returned to Konoha for many years. Kakashi interrupted Danzo. Elder Tuanzo, Jiraiya Sr. will only leave the village when he goes to investigate the matter of the Great Snake Pill. This is a very important task for the village, and it is approved by the 3 generations of Hokage-sama. I know. Danzo glanced at Kakashi and said, however, who can guarantee that Jiraiya has not been affected by any influence over the years, but has changed his mind and personality? To give a simple example, in the last war, YZ Lai did not come forward. This is a very confusing point. With Jiraiya's strength, if we had stood up last time, it would not have been so difficult for us Konoha to win, and maybe we wouldn't have been hurt at all. There is no way to refute this, because it is a fact. Asuma, what do you think? Tuanzo looked at Asuma. Richo is your father, and you have the most say in this matter. Asuma was silent, her eyes red. Hearing this, he raised his head. Whoever killed my father, I will make him pay. Asuma looked at the medical ninja. Please keep checking. I want to see a more detailed analysis. Good. The next day, the results of the examination came out. and the fatal wound on the corpse of the ape flying sun was indeed caused by needles, in addition to the traces of toads at the scene. Not an ordinary toad, it's a toad psychic beast. These two evidences prove even more, and it seems to be the hand that comes and goes. For this, Tuanzan made very fine preparations, and the arrangement was perfect, and all of them were blamed on Zilei. Even if Zilei was on the scene now, there was no room for argument. What's more, Zilei is not there yet. Let's make a wanted person issue a wanted warrant for Jiraiya. With Tuanzang's order, this information spread around at an extremely fast speed. The land of fire, the major ninja villages, all know. The ape flew to death. The murderer is none other than Jiraiya, one of the 3 shinobi. This is the second shinobi to defect after the Great Snake Pill. And what Jiraiya did this time was more excessive and bad than what the Great Snake Pill did back then. Killed the shadow of Ichimura. He is also his own teacher. Most people were surprised, because Zilei's wind evaluation has always been much better than the Big Snake Pill. The 4 generations of Hokage are all disciples of Jiraiya, and I can't think of a reason why I also killed the ape flying sun. The Big Snake Pill is because of the pursuit of science. There is nothing to pursue. Could it be that after being single for a long time, he has become mentally confused? The 4 major ninja villages are gloating. Ape Fei-Ri was beheaded to death, and Zilei was also wanted. In an instant, Konoha lacked 2 top powerhouses, and without them, Konoha's strength would drop a lot, and Konoha's weakening was equivalent to their strength. For them, it's a good thing. The Big Snake Pill was a little stunned. Sarutobi-sensei is dead? But the Big Snake Pill was not very happy, because what Orochimaru wanted to see more was to kill the ape flying sun by himself, not someone else. It can't be done by yourself. Orochimaru understands Jiraiya. Zilei could not have done such a thing. Framed, most likely, it is Tuanzang. But the Big Snake Pill didn't think about exposing this fact. When he heard the news, the whole person fell into confusion. Sarutobi-sensei is dead? I killed? How did I not know myself? I didn't know about it. Countless people knew one step ahead of Zilei that they killed the ape flying sun. Some strange eyes fell on Jiraiya's body. Jiraiya looked grim. Naruto, let's go. Jiraiya also took Naruto to a remote place. Naruto looked at Jiraiya with a complicated look in his eyes. Jiraiya-sensei, did you really kill Grandpa Naruto? Idiot. Jiraiya knocked Naruto the head. Why am I going to kill your Hokage grandpa? He was my teacher. The Great Snake Pill is also a disciple of Grandpa Hokage. Can the Great Snake Pill compare with me? Zilei also said angrily. The Big Snake Pill is a crane tail, and there have long been a lot of dissatisfaction with Teacher Ape Fei hidden in his heart, and he was expelled from the village by Teacher Ape Fei. What about me? What are my reasons? And these days, aren't I all with you? Where do I have time to go back to Konoha? Naruto nodded abruptly. It seems to be, wait, no, you can use the shadow avatar. Shadow doppelganger? Jiraiya sneered and said, Naruto, where are you to be Konoha? And what are you being Sarutobi-sensei? What can I do as a shadow avatar? That's true, too. Naruto believed it. Jiraiya's brows furrowed. Who is it? What does he want to do? The 3 of Shiraishi also heard the news. Shiraishi, mourning. Sasuke patted Shiraishi's shoulder. Such a thing, Sasuke has experience. Dying so many clans and families at once, there is no one more experienced than Sasuke. It's okay. Shiraishi shook his head. The old man is dead. I, as a disciple, will help him take revenge. However, it is unlikely that it will come. That person, I've seen, is not too inferior except for lecherousness. And the old man obviously has no competition with him. There is a high possibility of being blamed. Xiangfos leaned over. So what do we do now? Go ahead and find Tsunade. Shiraishi said. The things in the village are already like this. We can't manage it. We will do what we can do well. First find Tsunade. Episode 114. Mito Menyen looked at the many ninjas. Konoha can't be without a shadow for a day. Now Konoha is in internal and external troubles. And whether there are other traitors, we don't know. Maybe he also hid a secret hand in Konoha. And the major ninja villages outside, the big countries, and some small forces, all have their eyes on Konoha. At this time, someone has to step up. Konoha must have a new Hokage. Koharu, who was sleeping next to him, hesitated. But who can do that? Some names are starting to emerge. Kakashi, Asuma, these 2 are highly regarded juniors. The former is a disciple of the 4th generation of Hokage wave Feng Shui men, and the latter is the son of the 3rd generation of Hokage Abe Hibiki. However, these 2 are too young after all. If you are not old enough, then there are not enough qualifications. Now succeeding to the position of Hokage, he cannot bear the weight. So several other names were mentioned. Mito Menyen, Shimura Danzo. 2 Konoha elders, in terms of seniority, are enough. But in terms of strength, Mito Menyen is not enough. But the group hides enough. And back then, Tuanzang was the one who competed with Sarutobi for the position of Hokage. And even if the competition failed, Tuanzang still played a very important role. Compared with Mito Menyen, the comprehensive strength of Tuanzang is much stronger. The smile at the corner of Tuanzang's mouth gradually became a little irrepressible. It's a pity Jiraiya-sama rebelled, otherwise Jiraiya-sama would be a good choice, and Tsunade-sama. It would be great if Tsunade-sama was in Konoha now. A ninja retorted. The name of Sanshin is simply poisonous. Orochimaru rebelled, and Jiraiya also rebelled. There is only one Tsunade left. What if Tsunade also defects? No, whoever defects, Tsunade-sama can't defect. After all, Tsunade is the granddaughter of a generation, a descendant of the Senju clan. How can he do something that harms the village? But Uchiha, isn't he also one of the founders of the village, or someone like Uchiha who destroyed the entire Uchiha clan? Who can say? The other party fell silent. The name of Hokage's choice was decided. One by one was excluded. It was Mitomanitis that was ruled out first. A powerful elder, but he really has no merit that he can get. Such a resume proves that Mito Menyen is a person who does not have the ability to hold the position of Hokage. This made Mito Menyen angry. Mito Menyen doesn't feel worse than anyone. Before this, Mito Menyen had never thought of inheriting the position of Hokage. But when the opportunity really appeared, Mito Menyen found that his heart was moved, and his heart was irrepressible. Mito Menyen began to think, I can go to me, why can't I? Who am I worse than? No. Mito Menyen kept giving psychological hints to himself, and after that, he believed it. So when he heard that his name was excluded, Mito Menyen was very unhappy. By what? Is Tuanzo better than me? The strength is a little stronger, but we are all so old, is it still the time to fight fiercely? Not anymore, now is the time to rely on brains. I'm no worse than Tuanzo. And even if I can't compare to Danzo, why can't I even compare to Asuma and Kakashi? Okay, lose to Asuma. Asuma is the son of Hinata, you give him this face. But what about Kakashi? It's just that I rely on one of Uchiha's chakra eyes to have today. And if that eye is given to me, I can also get the name of a copy ninja, which is not a difficult task. Mito Manitis was very unconvinced. But no way. The crowd has ruled out the name of Mito Menyen. Mito Manitis can only sulk. The second to be excluded was Asuma. Asuma wasn't as indignant as Mito Menyen, and even didn't care at all. Compared to the position of Hokage, Asuma is now more concerned about finding the murderer who killed the ape flying son. Avenge your father. This is what Asuma wants to do the most. Asuma had some doubts about whether he had done it himself. However, as time went by, no other information was found, and all the evidence pointed to Jiraiya, and Asuma had to identify Jiraiya as the murderer of his father. Jiraiya, Asuma's eyes flickered. Did you kill my father? If so, why? Of the remaining competitors, only Danzo and Kakashi remained. One is a senior, who has lived in seclusion for many years and has a reputation that is not very loud, but many high-level people will not ignore Tuanzang. One is a junior, the third Ninja World War, his reputation was shocked, and he won the name of a copy ninja. As far as ordinary people are concerned, Kakashi's popularity is undoubtedly much higher. Danzo stood on the Hokage rock, looking down at the entire Konoha, the corners of his mouth slightly curved. If nothing else, Kakashi will not be my opponent. The position of Hokage is finally coming to my hands. Tuanzang took a deep breath. It's a nice feeling. Hinata, is this what you've lived for decades? It really makes me envious, jealous, and hateful. All this should have been mine. I am stronger than you. Always have been stronger than you. In terms of strength, ability, and personality, I am more suitable for Hokage. It's just that Kuruma-sensei favored you and gave you the position of Hokage. Tuanzo clenched his fists. You snatched my stuff. Now, I've finally got it back. The three of Shiraishi came out of a casino, and the people inside fell into a ball, wailing. Not because of anything else, it was beaten by the three of Shiraishi. Sasuke couldn't help but glance at Shiraishi. With Sasuke's thoughts, there was no need to use violence. But these people in the casino are too irritable, and Shiraishi's speaking style is the kind that does not care about others. When they didn't agree with each other, they quarreled. Sasuke admired these people in the casino a little, and actually took the initiative to strike at Shiraishi. Fortunately, Shiraishi collected some strength. Otherwise, these people would not lie on the ground wailing, but would have turned into corpses. What made Sasuke care more was Kakofos. On the surface, she seems to be a quiet girl, but she didn't expect to make a move, especially cruel. Kicked at the point of those people many times. Let Sasuke, this companion, involuntarily gasp. The three stopped in front of a tavern. If that's right, this is the tavern. Shiraishi looked at the tavern's plaque. Let's go inside. Shiraishi took the lead and walked in. At a glance, the entire tavern was in Shiraishi's line of sight. Shiraishi, do you think it's those two? Sasuke pointed to a corner. Two women. One woman drank some wine and blushed. The other one had a pig in his arms. That's right, it's them. Episode 115. Shiraishi, what should we say? But just as Sasuke was asking the question, Shiraishi had already walked over there. Are you Tsunade and Shizune? You are? Hearing the word Tsunade, Shizune immediately became alert. But seeing Shiraishi and noticing Shiraishi's age, Shizune's vigilance decreased slightly. I am a ninja from Konoha, named Aoki Shiraishi. Shiraishi looked at Tsunade and said, it's your second grandfather, Senjutsu Kuma, let me come and find you. Tsunade's eyes narrowed slightly. Second grandfather, 1,000 hands? Little ghost, what are you talking about? Did you cheat me? Do you know who I am? I'm... Hiccup. Tsunade burped, sweeping away all of his previous momentum. Shizune looked at Tsunade with some helplessness. Tsunade-sama, you're drunk. Nonsense, I'm not drunk. Only drunk people say they're not drunk. Does the person who is not drunk say that he is drunk? Shizune did not continue to argue with Tsunade, but stared at Shiraishi with a serious face. Young man, what exactly is your purpose? If I want to be bad for Tsunade-sama, I will never let you go, no matter how young you are. Shiraishi beckoned to Sasuke. Sasuke, come here. What's wrong? Sasuke didn't know why. Open your eyes and show them. Open your eyes? Just show your chakra eyes. Oh, good. Only then did Sasuke react. A touch of gouge appeared in Sasuke's eyes. Shizun frowned. Now it's time to prove our identity. The protective quota can be falsified, and the information can be falsified, but the blood succession limit cannot be fake. Shiraishi said, you won't have heard of the Uchiha thing. Only one Uchiha Itachi, and the Uchiha Sasuke in front of me. That age of rebellion is not right. Therefore, he has only one identity, and that is Konoha's only remaining Uchiha bloodline, Uchiha Sasuke. Shizun nodded. Only this is possible. Well, now that you've proven your identity, what do you want to do? Same as I said before. Shiraishi said, it's her second grandfather, Senjujima, who asked me to come and find her. Shiraishi pointed at Tsunade. Bastard, my second grandfather has been dead for so many years. Do you want to make it up, and you don't know a good reason to make it up and use this loophole way to deceive people? I never lie, those who know me know. Shiraishi shrugged his shoulders and said, believe it or not, when the Great Snake Pill and the Sand-Hidden Village attacked Konoha some time ago, the Great Snake Pill arranged a 4-Chian array, and the old man and I were trapped in the formation. Old man? It's 3 generations. Shiraishi continued. After that, Orochimaru used a ninjutsu called Dirt Reincarnation to get the first and second Hokage out and fight me and the old man. At first, it was me to the second generation and barely suppressed him. After that, I was on the Big Snake Pill, which hurt him, so that he had to open the 4-Chian array and escape. Shizun's eyes widened. Just you? It's not that Mute doesn't want to believe it, but it really feels beyond common sense. How can a boy who is only 13 or 14 years old be able to suppress the second generation Hokage and defeat the Great Snake Pill? No way. What about fantasy stories? Tsunade's focus was on something else. The Great Snake Pill used filthy soil to reincarnate and reincarnated my grandfather and second grandfather. That's right. A dark glint flashed across Tsunade's face. But then, something seemed to come to mind. What about them? How about what? It's with normal humans. It's a big difference. Shiraishi said, these two people, according to what the old man described, have a lot difference in strength compared to the real first and second generations, and they are also controlled by the Big Snake Pill. The soul is like my own, but the body is dirty, and many things cannot be used. Tsunade fell silent, as if thinking about something, and Mute, on the other hand, guessed some. Tsunade-sama, what he said is too false. With his age, how can he be the opponent of Orochimaru? Shiraishi raised his eyebrows. Mute, huh? Shiraishi was too lazy to add the word senior. Yes, since you question my strength, how about we compare? Your strength is Shainin. Competition? That's right. Shizun nodded and said, of course, the competition is possible, but, young man, don't think that I am not very strong because I am a medical ninja, good at saving people, but more capable of killing. I'm even more difficult to deal with than the average Shainin. What are you really going to do? The same. Shiraishi waved his hand and said, before, I thought that I was very powerful to be rated as a superior shinobi, but after I understood it, I realized that it was not like that at all. The strength of Shainin is uneven, especially some people. The strength is not good, it is completely promoted by relationship. Shizun's face became ugly, because Shiraishi's words sounded like they were talking about her. Okay, let's try it. Shiraishi nodded. No EQ event trigger. Talent, +6. Shiraishi glanced in the direction of Tsunade. Just now Tsunade also gave back some talent points, and the talent points of silent feedback were obviously not as much as Tsunade's feedback, but to be able to have 6 points, which is not bad. Tsunade-sama, I'll go out. Let's go together. Tsunade stood up. Good. A group of 5 people walked out of the wine shop. Not far from the side, in a remote alley, it was late now. There were almost no pedestrians on the road, and a gust of wind blew over, carrying some coolness. Shiraishi stood on the silent opponent. Shizun snorted coldly. Shiraishi, it's too late for you to regret it now. I just thought it was just a farce. Shiraishi couldn't help but shake his head. Woman, this thing is trouble. Come on, I can't beat you, unless your strength is stronger than Kakashi, Orochimaru, and they are all stronger. Just a superior shinobi. Patience? The corners of Shizun's eyes twitched. Then I'm coming, be careful. Shizun approached Shiraishi at a very fast speed. Shiraishi watched the silent movement and remained motionless. Too slow. Suddenly, when Shizun is about to approach Shiraishi, Shiraishi disappeared. Silent pupils shrink. Heavenly? Nope, nope. At this time, Shiraishi had come behind Shizun. One punch. Bang. Shiraishi's fist landed on Shizun's back. Shizun jumped and fell to the ground. Episode 116. What just happened? The mute did not see clearly, and the people next to him saw it clearly. The moment Shizun approached, Shiraishi entered the ground, and the next moment, he appeared behind Shizun. It's ninjutsu from last time. Sasuke remembers that Shiraishi used this trick when dealing with Moritsuru. You lose. Shizun didn't figure it out, and was a little unconvinced. No, you sneak attack, and just used ninjutsu that I don't know. Do it again. Shiraishi sneered. It's ugly to look like you can't afford to lose. Shizun blushed. Okay, come again. Shizun rushed towards Shiraishi again. This time, Shizun was wary of Shiraishi's sudden disappearance. However, this time Shiraishi did not use earthy activation. Instead, physical techniques are used directly. With this alone, Shiraishi is also stronger than silent. Power, speed, is stronger than silence. The two fought madly. Fist and fist collide. Leg and leg collide. Sasuke and Kasuki looked at each other blankly. So strong. Whether it is Shiraishi or Shizune, they are stronger than them now. But Tsunade saw it clearly. This kid is indeed very strong, and Shizune is not his opponent. Tsunade was just thinking about stopping the fight between the two. Suddenly, victory and defeat have been scored. Shiraishi struck Shizune with a hand knife that landed on Shizune's neck. Shizune snorted, his head dizzy. Shiraishi withdrew his hand. You lost again. Shizune's face turned pale. If you want to say that just now, you didn't notice it, then this time, you really lost. This makes Silent feel awkward. The other party's strength is indeed stronger than his own, and he has already lost and is not convinced. Shizune, come back. Yes, Tsunade-sama. Shizune returned to Tsunade. But you defeated me, and you still can't prove that everything you say is true. Shiraishi looked at Tsunade and said, strictly speaking, I should call you senior sister, because I am also a disciple of the old man, although the old man is irresponsible and did not teach me anything. From the beginning to now, only a few ninjutsu have been given to me, but now that the old man is dead, I don't care about that. Wait until you help him avenge him later, and then go to his tombstone and scold him twice. Tsunade's pupil shrank. The old man. Sarutobi-sensei. He's dead? Yes. Shiraishi nodded and said, I also heard the news after I left the village. According to the news released by Konoha, the old man was killed by Jiraiya. Jiraiya? No way. Tsunade knew very well that among the three disciples, who was the least likely to be the enemy of Ape Flying Sun, it would be Jiraiya. This guy regards the village as extremely important. Neither can I. I've seen that guy, except for being, there is no other big problem. It is not enough to do this kind of thing. It should be that someone framed him. Tsunade's eyes flickered quickly. Can you trust me now? Second grandfather, let you come to me, and told you what to do with me? That's right. Shiraishi said. At that time, time was running out, the big snake pill had retreated, and as soon as your second grandfather finished saying this, the big snake pill lifted the rebirth of the soil, and your second grandfather returned to heaven. Didn't say anything? Tsunade's brows furrowed. So what are you going to do? Persuade me to go back to Konoha? Shiraishi suddenly remembered something. By the way, at that time, your second grandfather and your grandfather seemed to be discussing that I might be a branch of your Thousand Hands clan or something. I don't remember exactly. Thousand Hands branch? Tsunade's eyes lit up. What's your name? Aoki Shiraishi. Aoki. Tsunade groaned and said, this surname, it seems that it does seem to be from Muduan, but this cannot be used as evidence. Have you awakened any special blood succession limits? I don't have a limit on blood. Then how did you become so strong? Get stronger? Shiraishi pondered for a moment. Kakashi, Sasuke, Shizune, couldn't help but look over. This is a point of interest to them all. Without the blood succession limit, how did it become so strong at this age? Historically, there have been young and strong people, but it's basically because of the blood stain. Baishur has no blood succession limit. Why is it so strong? I haven't done anything special. I read through the textbooks, do occasional physical training, and most of the time I spend my time resting. It can't be. Shiraishi shrugged and said, believe it or not, I used to be like this anyway. Sasuke interjected. Tsunade-senpai, Shiraishi is a genius, and not a genius in the ordinary sense. No matter what kind of ninjutsu, Shiraishi can learn it just by learning it once. Moreover, Shiraishi has improved both ninjutsu. Kakashi-sensei praised it all. Tsunade and Shizune's eyes widened. Can you learn it once? Shiraishi glanced at the two lightly. Is it hard to learn it all over again? For a person who is called a genius, it is a normal operation. Sasuke's face turned red a little. He was also called a genius being. But once again, it will be a ninjutsu. This kind of thing Sasuke can't do. Shizune, Tsunade, who has a genius to this extent? Monster Bar. I probably know what happened when second grandpa asked you to come to me. What? Learn something that is suitable for people with a Thousand Hands bloodline to learn, not on Konoha scroll. Tsunade said, maybe second grandpa, it was in you that you saw the hope of regaining the glory of Senju. Tsunade didn't say a word. That is, maybe now. The Thousand Hands fusion plan has felt that the Thousand Hands fusion plan back then was a failure. No benefit to Konoha. Instead, let the Thousand Hands gradually disappear. This result is not the same as what the Thousand Hand pillars imagined at the beginning. In that case, then you can learn from me from today onwards. If the second grandfather wants me to teach you, I will teach you. Next to Shizune hesitated. Tsunade-sama, over there in Konoha. I can't manage Konoha's affairs. Tsunade shook his head and said, I've left Konoha. And now that even Sarutobi-sensei is dead, Konoha has nothing worth going back to. But the situation in Konoha must be very bad now. If you go back, you will definitely be able to help Konoha stabilize the situation. Everyone actually hopes that you will succeed the next Hokage. Mute it. Tsunade's voice became stern. Tsunade-sama, episode 117. Yes. The mute voice lowered and did not speak again. I see. Tsunade looked at Shiraishi for a moment, then at Sasuke and Kasuki, behind Shiraishi. What are these two people here for? This is Wormwood, it's my maid. Shiraishi pointed to Kakashi. This is Sasuke Uchiha. Sasuke, what purpose do you have? Just say it yourself. Sasuke nodded, suddenly walked up to Tsunade. Poof. Sasuke knelt down in front of Tsunade. Tsunade-senpai, please accept me as a disciple. Tsunade was stunned for a moment. Immediately, the expression became strange. A person from Uchiha actually wants to worship me as a master with 1,000 hands? The relationship between Uchiha and Senju was once close, but when Uchiha Kagami died, the relationship between Senju and Uchiha became very indifferent. The battle to end the valley, which destroyed a lot of things. Bang! Sasuke gritted his teeth and smacked to the ground. Tsunade came back to his senses and glanced at Sasuke. Why do you want to worship me as a teacher? You should know that my route and yours are completely different, and I am a medical ninja. You want revenge, and it is useless to study medicine, because senior, you are the most powerful ninja I can find. Tsunade's face darkened. That doesn't convince me. You want to find me to worship a teacher, but why should I accept you as a disciple? Tsunade looked at Sasuke and said, give me a reason. Sasuke didn't know what to say. Truly, it is good for you to worship Tsunade as a master. Your own strength can become stronger, and you can learn a lot of things that other ninjas can't learn. But what does Tsunade get? Senju and Uchiha do not have a good relationship. Tsunade and the Uchiha clan also have little friendship. Why did Tsunade accept himself as a disciple? Nothing to do? Sasuke subconsciously looked at Shiraishi. Shiraishi shook his head. Shiraishi couldn't think of this reason. Let's get up first. Tsunade looked at Shiraishi and said, come with me. Good. A group of 5 people walked towards an inn. There are 2 rooms in total. Tsunade and Shizune, Shiraishi, Kabu, and Sasuke are 3 people in one, but none of them have any intention of resting. Shiraishi, Tsunade-sama let you pass. Shizune knocked on the door and remained in this room afterward. Tsunade-sama wants to talk to you alone. Shiraishi nodded. Got it. Pushing open the door, Tsunade sat cross-legged on the ground with a calm expression, but in the eyes, there is something hidden. Sit down. Good. After a moment of silence, Tsunade asked, when you saw the scene of the first and second generation, tell me in detail, what did they look like at that time? Is there anything else for you to tell me? Nope. Baisher shook his head and said, it's no different from what I said before. Looking at this situation, it should be what their state was before they died, and what it was like to be reborn from dirt. This way. Tsunade was a little disappointed. By the way, that Wormwood, huh? Yes. Wormwood, she's not an ordinary person, huh? Wormwood's hair color is very special. That color, only special ninja families will appear. Fire red. She is from the Uzumaki clan. How did she become your maid? Wormwood was met during the Chunin exam. Shiraishi said, when the Forest of Death was assessed, I just happened to encounter her. Because her strength was too poor, there was no threat, and there was no scroll in her hand, so I didn't attack her. Because she was also quite cooperative, we just talked a little. She is from Kusanagi village, but she is not a native of that village, but only temporarily lives in Kusanagi village, and she does not get the approval of Kusanagi village, and even her mother died because of Kusanagi village. So I made a suggestion to her. I gave her an identity to legally live in Konoha, and in exchange, she needed to be my maid, a deal between the 2 of us. And as for whether she is from the Vortex clan, I don't know. It doesn't matter either. Tsunade raised an eyebrow. People in the Uzumaki clan usually have great potential, especially in perception and sealing, and their chakra amount will be much more than ordinary ninjas. Since Wormwood is already your maid and has established a good relationship with you, then you can take advantage of this. Cultivate Wormwood well, she will be a great help to you in the future. Shiraishi shook his head, not interested. Why? For a truly strong person, you don't need helpers, right? The need for helpers only means that it is not strong enough, and I don't feel like I need something like this. In the late Hokage, that strong man needs teammates? It's not a single person saving the world yet. Tsunade. Now Tsunade is a little suspicious. Does Shiraishi really have the bloodline of the Senju clan? Uchiha is more likely. Those blind arrogant guys are very similar to Shiraishi's current arrogance. The Senju clan has never had such a person. Even the character between the 1,000-hand pillars is indeed very jumpy, but not eccentricity in this direction. Shiraishi, for ninjas, teammates are a must. No matter how strong you are, you can't be stronger than a generation. The god of the ninja world is already the limit that all ninjas can reach. But even my grandfather will be injured, because if the treatment is not timely, he will die so young. Shiraishi shook his head. I will be stronger than a generation. Impossible. Then let's watch later. Or shall we make a bet? Bet? Tsunade's eyes narrowed slightly, and interest came. Bet on what? Shiraishi thought for a moment. I haven't thought about it for the time being, so that the person who wins can make a request to the person who loses. How about it? Good. Shiraishi nodded and said, okay, then it's decided. Let's start today's lesson. What are you going to teach me today? Let's start with medical ninjutsu. Tsunade said, a good ninja must master certain medical ninjutsu so that his injuries can be treated in time without worsening due to time. And to master medical ninjutsu, you must have extraordinary chakra control ability. Learn this first. Chakra control? So? Have a question? Or are you not good at this? It's not. Shiraishi said, if it comes to chakra control, I think there should be no one better than I control chakra, so I think this step can be omitted. No one has a better grasp than you? Could it be that your chakra control ability is stronger than mine? Tsunade sneered. If nothing else, yes. Then I'll see. Episode 118. Tsunade looked at the cup next to him. Just test it with the water in this cup. Tsunade took a cup of his own and handed one to Shiraishi. Have you learned to control the flow of water with chakra? Nope, Shiraishi answered truthfully. Tsunade raised an eyebrow. Not even this. You dare to say that your chakra control is not under anyone's control? Stop talking nonsense. You demonstrate it first, and I'll follow right away. Tsunade. No EQ event trigger. Talent plus 16. Tsunade thought sullenly in his heart. I haven't learned it, and I dare to make a big fuss. And I'll see how you make a fool of yourself. Okay. The next moment, the chakra in Tsunade's hand covered the cup and entered the cup. The water in the cup, under the action of chakra, changes into various shapes. One moment is a whirlpool, the other is a pattern. After a while, it even turned into a smart animal. See? Tsunade raised his chin. Do you dare to say that you can do it now? Shiraishi glanced at the cup in his hand. The next moment, the water in the cup in Shiraishi's hand changed equally rapidly, almost exactly the same as what Tsunade had shown earlier. In the beginning, Shiraishi's speed was a little slow, but as time went on, Shiraishi became more and more numerous, and soon Shiraishi was able to do so faster than Tsunade. Tsunade's eyes widened. You learned before, deliberately hidden? I'm not that boring. Tsunade was silent for a moment. Do you really only read everything once, and learn it? Almost. Shiraishi nodded and said, but there are some things that you can't learn. For example, let's say having a baby. Tsunade, forget it, I believe you. Then I will teach you the first treatment ninjutsu now. Tsunade said, non-medical ninjas can also treat the wounded in the battlefield, but their treatment methods are relatively scarce, and the effect is not so obvious. Medical ninjas are called medical ninjas, because they have mastered medical ninjutsu. Healing. This is a ninjutsu that all medical ninjas must learn after embarking on this path. The difficulty is not great, the treatment effect is average, but it is much stronger than conventional means. Even a ninja who has been fatally injured may be able to recover a life if he is treated with healing techniques, which is the importance of medical ninjas. Shiraishi interrupted Tsunade. Senior sister Tsunade, I won't learn basic healing ninjutsu, give me the best. Tsunade? Shiraishi's idea is very simple. Now Shiraishi does not have much talent point balance left. If you learn any ninjutsu, it is not enough. What will happen if it is not enough? The character collapsed. Once the character collapses, then Shiraishi will not be so smooth if he wants to obtain talent points. So this is something that Shiraishi will not allow to happen. And Shiraishi really didn't want to learn so many messy ninjutsu. Directly learn how to do it? Tsunade's brows furrowed. You haven't learned to walk yet, you want to learn to fly? It's not a big problem. Shiraishi said, I studied ninjutsu, which is pretty much the same. When I was in ninja school, I only learned the basic doppelganger technique, transformation technique, and avatar technique. In addition to that, there was also the art of Narukami. A one-eyed old man in the back sent me a scroll of wind escape vacuum jade. Tsunade's eyebrows moved. One-eyed old man? That's right, the name is Tuanzang. It seems to be trying to recruit me and give me a lot of promises. But at that time, the old man was already my teacher, and I had no reason to turn to someone who was not as good as the old man. Tsunade's eyes flickered. And what? The ninjutsu I learned after that was the water dragon bite. This old man took out the ninjutsu from the Book of Seals. But I don't think this ninjutsu really needs to go to the Book of Seals. There is no effective self-harm, and the harm caused can only be described as modest. Shiraishi looked at Tsunade. I feel that this ninjutsu can enter the Book of Seals, more because this ninjutsu was invented by your second grandfather. So I can hold this relationship and enter the Book of Seals. Tsunade. Shiraishi continued. Now I kind of regret learning the art of Narukami. The effect is not very large, and it wastes my memory space, and I will not forget it for a while. So, this kind of garbage ninjutsu, I won't learn it. If you want to learn, you will learn well. Tsunade was silent for a long moment. After that, look up at Shiraishi. Well, this is what you said. Healing is the foundation. If you don't learn it, you won't learn it. But without learning healing, it's not a simple thing for you to learn higher level healing ninjutsu. It's going to be very, very difficult. Those ninjutsu, but after learning the healing technique, it is still difficult to learn. Shiraishi waved his hand. Come on, good. Tsunade nodded and said, next, I'll teach you this ninjutsu, called palm cactus. The next moment, Tsunade threw the cup to the ground. Bang! The cup shattered into countless pieces. After that, Tsunade held out a finger. See clearly. Tsunade's other hand, holding his fingers. Click. A crisp sound sounded. I saw that Tsunade's finger was broken. A sharp pain made Tsunade's face change a little. Palm cactus. Tsunade's other hand emitted a green, faint fluorescence. Wrap this injured finger around it. The next moment, Tsunade's finger stood up again, restored to its previous appearance. Tsunade moved a bit, very normal. It's no different from before you were injured. This is the palm cactus. You can see it clearly. Tsunade looked at Shiraishi. The eyes widened instantly. Because Shiraishi did the same thing as her, he picked up a cup and smashed it on the ground. Bang! After dropping the cup, Shiraishi looked at Tsunade. To be honest, if you want to break your fingers, I don't know what the point of this action of dropping the cup is. Tsunade, Shiraishi broke one of his fingers. Click. The fingers before Tsunade were bent into the same shape. Shiraishi's other palm approached the wound. A burst of pale green fluorescence wins, and chakra gathers. Palm cactus. Shiraishi's fingers also recovered at an extremely fast speed. In a short time, it is restored as before. Is that so? Tsunade was dumbfounded. You studied palm cactus before? No, it can't be. What you just used is an improved version of the palm cactus technique. This is only me. And even the scroll is not recorded. You can't have known before. Then this means that you really learned it after watching me use the palm cactus technique? Tsunade stared at Shiraishi deadly. Shiraishi shrugged. That's right. Episode 119. No matter how much Sasuke said before, Tsunade didn't believe it very much. Even if after Shiraishi and Shizun competed, Tsunade understood Shiraishi's strength. But he was more inclined that Shiraishi became so strong because of long hours of hard training. But now, Tsunade realized, Shiraishi is a true genius. Tsunade watched with his own eyes, and Shiraishi learned it just by seeing that he used the palm cactus technique once. The difficulty of palm cactus is much more difficult than ordinary ninjutsu, and even more difficult than many forbidden arts. Medical ninjas who can master palm cactus are all extremely good medical ninjas, but Shiraishi just read it once and learned it. What a terrifying talent. Unbeatable. Unthinkable. More than Tsunade's cognition. Even if Kakashi used the Sharingan to copy, he couldn't do it to this extent. A lot of ninjutsu, in fact, Kakashi can't copy. Tsunade-sama. There was a knock on the door, and silence stayed outside. Shizun, come in. Yes. After Muzun came in, he saw the debris on the ground. What's wrong with this? The cup is just broken. Tsunade waved his hand and said, Shiraishi, let's come here today. You go back first, rest well in the evening, and continue tomorrow. Good. Shiraishi nodded. Shizun stared curiously at Shiraishi's back. Tsunade-sama, what happened just now? Tsunade glanced out the window. Shizun, do you think palm cactus is difficult to learn? Hard. Shizun recalled his experience of learning palm cactus at that time. It was really difficult. If it weren't for Tsunade's careful and hand-in-hand teaching, he might not have learned it at all. Do you think, has anyone learned the palm cactus just by watching it once? Impossible, Shizun said categorically. A possibility suddenly came to mind. Is it Shiraishi? Shiraishi learned the palm cactus technique? That's right. Tsunade nodded and said, just now, I just demonstrated the palm cactus like Shiraishi, and right away, Shiraishi learned it, and it was used exactly the same. Before Shiraishi said that he didn't want to learn the low-level medical ninjutsu of healing, and I still thought Shiraishi was so ambitious. Unexpectedly, I didn't know enough about Shiraishi. In this world, there really are such people. Even grandfather, second grandfather, can't do this level. The next day, Tsunade led everyone to another city. The destination is another casino. Tsunade heard that a new project has appeared in the casino here. For this, Tsunade has no control at all. Sasuke stayed beside Tsunade attentively. Observe the words. This made Tsunade look at Sasuke differently. You're not Uchiha at all. Tsunade shook his head. Sasuke's performance was completely different from those of Uchiha in Tsunade's impression. The arrogant, proud Uchiha would never do such a thing. Bow and scrape? How can it be? I just want revenge. I want to gain strength. I want to kill that man. Sasuke lowered his head. The shoulders are constantly shaking. 2 lines of tears ran down Sasuke's eye sockets and dripped onto the ground. Finally, Tsunade let go. Uchihas, it's not completely impossible for you to worship me as a teacher. Really? Sasuke's eyes lit up sharply. What am I going to do? You don't have to do anything now. Tsunade said, however, you have to grant me a few requests. What? First, don't hurt Konoha's people. Sasuke nodded quickly. Of course, I'm a Konoha person. Why should I hurt Konoha's people? Second, be a teacher for 1 day and a father for life. Once you really decide to worship me as a teacher, then you must treat me as a true elder and carry out the iwu and responsibilities of a disciple. It's not that you just learned ninjutsu from me and ran. Sasuke shook his head sharply. Absolutely not. Third, when I'm away, you're going to listen to Shiraishi. Suddenly, everyone's eyes were focused on Shiraishi's body. Sasuke hesitated. Okay, I can promise, Shiraishi helped me a lot. This time it was also Shiraishi who agreed. I can follow. I can swear now. I will always treat Shiraishi as a real brother. Tsunade nodded. Well, from today onwards, you can follow me and learn. Let's start with chakra control. Sasuke hesitated. Teacher, my chakra control ability should be pretty good. Good? Tsunade raised his eyebrows and subconsciously looked at Shiraishi. Shiraishi taught me a training method. Then you try this. Tsunade looked at Shizun and said, Shizun, give him a glass of water. Yes, Tsunade-sama. After a while, the water in the cup in Sasuke began to change various shapes. Not bad indeed. Tsunade said, in that case, then you go straight to the study of healing. Shizun, you teach him. Good. Shizun is your senior sister. If you don't understand anything in the future, you can ask Shizun first. Yes. Shizun took Sasuke to the other side. Tsunade came to Shiraishi's side. Shiraishi, how about it? This little brother I found for you is good. Uchiha's unique seedling. one of the few Sharingans in this world. If there is such a person in your team, it will definitely be much more convenient. If there is another white eye, it will be almost. Do you want to thank me? Shiraishi shook his head. Nope, I don't think you found me a helper, senior sister Tsunade, but you found me a burden. Tsunade, before this relationship, I could refuse whatever I wanted, but after this relationship, if senior sister Tsunade picks you halfway, then what should I do? Pick a pick? It won't. It's very likely, Shiraishi said. According to my observation of you during this time, I found that you are not a very reliable person, especially when gambling. It is like a changed person. Tsunade, don't appreciate it, my own disciple, I teach it myself, and besides, there is silence. I'll teach you something else today. Invincible, Tsunade said, under normal circumstances, we will have a surplus of chakras in our body, and if we do not deal with it, these chakras will be full and overflowing, which is equivalent to waste. And the Invincible is the method of collecting these chakras, condensing them, and collecting them in the body. When you need it, you can take it out and use it. At the same time, it keeps your body active and keeps you young. Shiraishi glanced at Tsunade. I don't think I'm old enough to need it. Episode 120. You'll use it later. Tsunade pointed to himself. Shiraishi, can you tell my current age? Tsunade's chin raised slightly, as if a little proud. Probably, 60? Suddenly, Tsunade's face darkened. Do I look like I'm 60? Most women care about their age and hope that they can appear younger. And others will be happy when they mistakenly think that their age is younger than their actual age. Tsunade thought that he would never look more than 30 years old, not much different from those young women in their 20s. As a result, what number did Shiraishi report? 60? This Tsunade couldn't bear it anymore. I just calculated it. Shiraishi said, I'm almost 14 now. A little worse, Kakashi-senpai is more than 10 years older than me, and Kakashi-senpai is a disciple of the 4th generation of Hokage. The 4th generation of Hokage will probably also be more than a decade older than Kakashi. The 4th generation of Hokage, and he is also a disciple of senior brother Jiraiya. Senior sister Tsunade, you and senior brother Jiraiya should be about the same age. Moreover, the last time I saw senior brother Jiraiya, he looked like a 60-year-old old man. Hearing this, Tsunade's face softened a little. Did you deduce it from Jiraiya? Is it that I look like I am 60 years old, not me? That's pretty much it. Tsunade said, Jiraiya, that guy is indeed old and ugly, but it's still a lot stronger than the pervert of the big snake pill. Shiraishi said, the look of the big snake pill that is neither male nor female is really disgusting to watch. He wasn't like this before, but... Forget it, don't talk about his business. Tsunade looked at Shiraishi. Let's get started. Shiraishi hesitated. Senior sister Tsunade, the name of this ninjutsu sounds strange, a bit of a girl, there will be no special changes after learning it, right? I don't want to become the perverted look of Orochimaru. Orochimaru? Tsunade shook his head and said, this is just an ordinary medical type of ninjutsu. What changes can saving chakra make to you? Are you because of the wording? This describes only chakra attributes, not men and women, rest assured. Both men and women can learn it without any adverse effects, but only if chakra's controllability is good enough, and there is a good enough foundation for medical ninjutsu. The reason why there is not much circulation outside is because this is the stuff of the Thousand Hands family. It's Senju, not Konoha. I want to teach, and the other party can learn. I don't want to teach, even if it's a ninja in Konoha, no one can learn it. Shiraishi nodded. Then I'm relieved. Like palm cactus, it is also learned once. Shiraishi only closed his eyes, his thoughts moved, 100 talent points were added, and immediately, Shiraishi completely mastered the ninjutsu of Invincible. After that, the momentum on Shiraishi's body began to converge. To put it simply, the momentum on the previous white stone was a bit too strong compared to his peers. It gives people a feeling that as long as they see it, they will feel that Shiraishi is very strong. But now, Shiraishi has become an ordinary shinobi. But Shiraishi's power did not disappear, but only converged. A faint diamond-shaped mark appeared on Shiraishi's forehead. Can this thing be removed? Shiraishi pointed to the mark on his forehead. Remove? Why? Because it's ugly. Tsunade? Because Tsunade also has this diamond-shaped mark on his forehead. As long as anyone who has learned the Invincible, they all have this mark. Shiraishi said ugly. Doesn't it mean that she looks ugly like this? A trace of resentment was born from Tsunade's heart. The casino arrived. Tsunade entered the casino and played a cool game. After that, he lost a lot of money on his body, and Shizun also lost a lot of money, but Shizun learned to be smart and hid some. So Tsunade couldn't help but look at the three of Shiraishi. Junior brother Shiraishi, I don't have any money. Shiraishi's refusal was clean and neat, and there was little room for bargaining. Wormwood, Xiangfos also shook his head. I'm just Shiraishi's maid, so there was only Sasuke left. Uchihas, now is the time. This disciple of yours has solved the problems for me. The teacher. Teacher, my money is here. Sasuke took a money bag from his pocket. Not bad, you disciple. I didn't make a mistake. Tsunade nodded in satisfaction. Another battle is cool. It's just that when it came out again, he lost another essence and even owed a lot of money. People in these casinos know Tsunade, the big fat sheep of Konoha. As long as you bet with Tsunade, you can basically make 100% money. Moreover, Tsunade owes money, and it can be found to be repaid. Shizun, Konoha, Jiraiya, and even the daimyo of the Fire Nation. Therefore, the people at these casinos are happy to let Tsunade owe money. Sasuke, you shouldn't be able to get this money back. Honor the teacher, as it should be. Shiraishi shook his head. Lick the dog. Sasuke. Now Sasuke understood what those two words meant. At that time, Sasuke was disdainful of Naruto, Akamaru, and Sakura, and even a little ridiculed. I didn't expect to do the same thing myself now. I couldn't help but blush. Konoha's Hokage candidate was finally chosen. Shimura Danzo won this battle for the position of Hokage with a narrow number of votes. Kakashi failed. This is expected by many. For ordinary people, the statement is not obvious. But over the years, Tuanzang has accumulated a lot of resources. The major families, and the roots they master. These are the forces of Tuanzang. A notice was sent to the daimyo of the Fire Nation. In a sense, Konoha and the Land of Fire are cooperative relationships. Hokage succession requires the approval of the daimyo of the Fire Nation. But in most cases, it is only Konoha who provides the name, and the daimyo of the Fire Nation confirms it, and there is no right to suggest, or even the right to deny. This can be seen from the Fourth Shinobi War. Ninjas have too many advantages over ordinary people. It can't be compared at all. A seal fell. The succession ceremony of Tuanzo went smoothly. As with all previous Hokage succession ceremonies, from today onwards, Danzo has become dignified Konoha Hokage. Finally, I sat in this position. Danzo sat behind his desk in Hokage's office. Rick Hop, kill you. I really don't regret it. From today, Konoha is mine. Danzo, you are the king of Konoha, land of rain. When Nagato heard the news, he couldn't help but fall into deep thought. Xiaonan, do you think this is true?